Welcome back to the Generation Varied podcast, everybody. This is the show where we discuss pop culture, sports, politics, health, business, everything in between. I am your host, Caleb Norris, and I'm joined here by my two co-hosts, Ben Okenge and Jack Widener, with our wonderful producer in the background, Sophie St. Furman, behind the scenes. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Look, today is magical here in DC. Somehow, it has transformed into Narnia. Because when I step outside, it was just inches of snow. And it's the most snow that DC has gotten in one day in a long time.
Jack, I thought you were talking about the January 6th insurrection.
Oh,
I was like, what did they do? What happened? I was like, they got Aslan out there or something? Like, you know how folk be.
You know what's I'm glad funny? It's magical over there. That is evidence that you live in a walkable city, because I'm here. It's struggle city in Columbus, man. Like, that snow was not welcome. I'm not happy about it. It ruined transportation, and
it's welcome here because all these families, all these folks who live in DC all have dogs, and we went to a park, and these dogs are just so excited, just like being outside, and it was just a vibe. People were playing football in the snow. Kids are playing snowball fight, making their own, sled ramp. It was great, But I did walk by the Capitol Hill building, and there's like there's a fence all around it, and I never seen it blocked out that far before. I'm sure it has in the past, but just from me living here, I haven't seen that far. How like wide or how much is blocked out. But I did see some folks and I hit me when I was walking around like, oh my God, today is January 6th. So there has to be some folks here doing some stuff. So just like walking around, that kind of stuff. But it's beautiful here in DC. It's really cool, like seeing statues with like snow on it. And yeah, I feel like Narnia for me. So if I'm in Ohio, Ben, I will be feeling the same thing for sure.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about it much more. I don't want to bring the vibe down. I'm just happy to be on this call with you guys.
I'm dead.
It's terrible out there, but the joy of the Lord is in my heart, man, and that's all I need.
That's what he said. He said the joy of the Lord is our strength. Amen. I'll take this moment. I'll take this moment to preach for just a second. The Bible says to put on the garment of praise for a spirit of heaviness. Okay. If you sitting around your house feeling sad, what that means is you need to get up and dance a little bit. You need to get up and move around, watch something funny, get up, shout, praise the Lord, do something.
Eat vitamin D and get that sunshine.
Seriously.
Well, speaking of sunshine, LeBron James. There's a lot of meme around him just being sunshine, and it's his birthday recently. Caleb, Ben, I'm sure you're pretty close with this. So he turned 40 this year. Well, last year on December 30th. And it's one of those things that on the internet, people just kind of took it too far, in my opinion. And honestly, Ben, you might think that, yeah.
No, they didn't. It was appropriate.
Caleb, so what happened was a lot of people around the world celebrated LeBron's 40th birthday.
Right.
You will see videos of people going to restaurants like Chili's, and they'll literally save a seat for LeBron, and they will put his jersey right next to them, and they would even bring his Space Jam posters to like different restaurants.
See, now that's just disrespectful. Okay, that's just disrespectful.
To Chili's.
They're like actually singing his like happy birthday song to LeBron, and he's not even there. It's just
my favorite thing about LeBron James is when he lies for no reason. Like
Le Cap.
This man just will be in an interview. Oh yeah, Anna Winter. Listen, we was at the Wall of China, and there was some people coming after us, and this man will make up something outrageous and clearly like fact checkable.
My favorite is him reading books. The first page or first chapter.
He's always starting a book. He's always starting.
You never see him finishing a book. He's always starting a book.
Yeah.
My favorite is when he mouths the words to lyrics and it gets them wrong like every single time in rap videos. That is my actual favorite LeBron pastime, honestly.
LeBron, if you're listening to this, know that we're saying this all out of love. We love you, man. We want you to come on this podcast.
All out of love.
And happy birthday. So
yes. Happy birthday to King James.
James. Billy Goat James.
I thought it was funny though. People were just celebrating his birthday without him being there. And, he probably doesn't know who they are. So, but speaking of a new year and movies, Narnia, I want to go through some of the biggest box office movies that's coming out this year. Gentlemen, what I hope to do is, as I go through these lists of 12 movies, I want you to give a rate and reaction, like how excited are you to see this movie. Specifically, there's 4 ratings you can put out. So the first one is movie theater worthy. This means you're gonna get out of your house, drive to the theater, buy the ticket online, get the popcorn, get your drink, and sit on the recliner seat in front of the theater to watch this movie. I feel that takes a lot these days. So this is a good thing. The second rating is, I'll wait until it's on a streaming service. Like, I'm going to wait until it's on Disney, Netflix, or wherever platform it's on. The third one is, I'm not even going to bother watch it. Like, I'm not even going to click on it, even when it's on streaming service. And the last one is, the studio just need to stop making this movie or this type of movie. So that is the 4 list. And what I'm going to do is going through in chronological order the biggest movies that's coming out this year. I just want to hear what your thoughts is.
Hey, first hold up. Let me stop you there, because for the listeners who are just listening and who aren't watching, Caleb has been getting gradually more and more excited, because I know he's about to be so harsh. He is not gonna go watch a single movie in theaters.
Hey,
let me tell you something.
He's on that energy, of they need to stop.
Vetted movies. Let me tell you something. I'll be looking at movies before I go. I have to look up scores. Because I'm not trying to. Here's the thing. Time is our most valuable commodity. When I watch a bad movie, I genuinely want to email somebody and be like, y'all, that was 2 hours. Like that, this is more of a, when it's bad art, this is more of a detriment to society if you think about it. Because it's that's 2 hours gone. I never get that 2 hours back. I'd have preferred if the movie was $100. Burn $100 of my dollars before you burn 2 hours of my time. So vetted movies only are we going to a movie theater for. You know what I'm saying?
Well, lucky for you, we're going to start off super strong.
Okay. Lisa Nagai?
No, that's coming out in 2026. So we don't get that this year. On Valentine's Day, we get Captain America, The Brave New World. This is the 4th Captain America movie, the first of the 3 Marvel films that's coming out this year. Gentlemen, where do you see yourself rating this? Are you going to go theater for this, or what's going on?
They need to stop making this. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Snap.
How many?
110%, bro. This is so dead.
It had its moment in cinema. Okay? It was a whole vibe. It was a whole era. We are past that vibe and era, and it feels like we keep trying to bury this horse, and they nah, dig him up. Dig him up and whoop his ass one more time. Okay?
Literally, he's dead. Captain America is dead.
Beating a dead horse.
It's crazy. You're gonna now just start up a whole new Captain America. Listen, I'm not gonna watch it. They need to stop making it. They need to stop making all superhero movies, in my opinion. That's been done. I don't know.
Well, hold on, because we got a few hero movies on my list. But the next one is Mickey 17. If you don't know this, This is directed by Bong Joon-ho, who is returning from his Oscar film Parasite that he won in 2020. This is the first film he's coming back to direct. It's starring Robert Pattinson. Gentlemen, for me,
it's in English.
This is in English. This to me is a movie goer. This is. I watched the trailer. It looks very original, very like the concept is very interesting. Essentially, Robert Pattinson's character Mickey continues to die, but he relives. They like make another body out of him to basically experiment different things to keep the human race alive, I believe. But anyways, that's probably the only film on this list you will not know. The rest, but based off me just saying that, like, what do you think?
I'll say movie theater worthy. Yeah, I think any director that wins like movie of the year at the Oscars or something like that, anything that you produce that is at that caliber, again, I'm gonna go see it. I've got a couple of directors that are like my favorites from like A24, and it's like anything that they put out, I'm gonna go see just because I know the caliber of movie that I'm gonna be getting, and so I think it's movie theater worthy.
I don't want to speak too soon because I am picky when it comes to the movie theater worthy. That's like high praise, very high praise. And I haven't heard anything about this movie, so I'm going to have to do my background work. But right now I'm leaning towards giving it that because I really did love Parasite. I thought it was super well written, really captivated me. So I expect the same here.
Well, strap your boots for next one. On April 4th, we got the Minecraft movie starring Blackjack and Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I've been seeing the trailer for this. They need to stop making the trailer. Not like
Ben said, take the trailer out of circulation too.
For real. No, it's cringy. It really is cringy. To be honest, the whole Minecraft thing is very cringy. Like I no disrespect to the listeners who like Minecraft. I think there was a time where you know, I'm not that type of video game person personally. So I know that bias is there in me, but that also should have definitely had a very short shelf life, and people are still living in this Minecraft moment, and I don't know, to me it's just cringe. Like,
hey, I love Minecraft the game, most sold game of all time, but I definitely am not going to see this movie. I think even a Minecraft world, they're not going to see this movie just because, yeah, it looks terrible.
Yeah, so I'm probably against my will going to be dragged to the movie theaters to watch this because my
theater.
Yeah, dude, my boyfriend's super nerdy, so he's into all that kind of stuff. But I'll just say it is not my first choice. And if it were up to me,
a reluctant movie theater worthy.
Yeah, if it were up to me, not going to bother to watch it, but he'll want to watch it in theaters probably. So.
All right, and on May 23rd, we have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise returns as Agent Hunt for the last conclusion of Mission Impossible. Well,
go ahead, Caleb.
Go ahead
with the long sigh.
This is like the Bring It On cheerleading series. This is like the sixth movie. It's like Bring It On, Save the Community Center one more time. This is like Mission Impossible, like, Stop the Terrorists one last time. It's like, pal, collect your Social Security.
Yeah.
You are too old to be out here jumping off buildings.
Yeah.
And you know he insists on doing all his own stunts and stuff. And it's like, AARP ain't, you ain't collected nothing from them yet. You ain't got, and I'm not even trying to be rude. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many times can we jump off the tallest buildings? They making taller buildings just for that man to jump off of from higher heights?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is definitely overdone. It's there's way too many of these movies, but I'm still gonna watch it. I'm gonna wait for sure. I'm gonna wait till it's in the streaming service. I'm not paying for it, but I'll watch it.
Watching on a stream as well. I love the stunts just because knowing that, hey, Tom Cruise, this old man is out here schooling everyone right now. Still, at the age that he is. I saw him jump off.
It's because he's a Scientologist, bro. Come on.
Once I saw him jumping off at the closing ceremony in Paris from the roof, I was like, this man is he's something else.
Dude is nuts. An adrenaline junkie.
Mm-hmm. All right. On May 23rd, same day, if you don't want to watch Mission Impossible, you could come watch this. The next Disney live action movie adapting its animated film, Lilo and Stitch.
I'm not going to lie to you. I might be in theaters watching
that. Same.
I might be in theaters, bro. I just watched Mufasa. That was so good. And like, I know a lot of people don't really like this like excessive like realistic animation that's like live action. And I don't know how I feel about Lilo and Stitch being that way. Mm-hmm. But I love Lilo and Stitch, and I think it's gonna be unique. As long as there's no singing in it, I'll be there in theaters.
What? I think the music's the best part about Lilo and Stitch. The music is amazing.
It's good, but I ain't there for that.
Miss Ben with a musical moment because he's not here for it.
Oh, true.
Let me say this: my parents growing up, we were not allowed watching Lilo and Stitch. And here was
more.
Here was my parents' logic. They was like, that thing's a little demon. Everywhere he goes, he be tearing up the place and destroying stuff. That's a demon coming the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that Stitch came to steal from them, tried to kill them a couple of times. So we could not watch it. In fact, my parents sent in my mom found out that I watched like the first half of it in elementary school and sent in a note and was like, y'all not about to have my baby bringing home demons from elementary school.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Crazy. So you're going to go to theater then, huh?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, it has no appeal to me. I'll probably wait for streaming services.
The next one is coming out. Next big blockbuster movie film is going to be coming out June 13th. How to Train Your Dragon in live action. It's going to be directed by the same director who directed the first 3 series, the animated version. So DreamWorks, okay. I'm excited. I love How to Train Your Dragon. It's a movie that that continues. I continue to like it even more each time I watch it. So I personally will probably watch this in a theater.
I think I will too, honestly. I like the direction they took with this. I feel like How to Train Your Dragon was another one of those series or movies, franchises that got overplayed. I didn't even watch all of them. There were just too many at that point. So I really like this direction of doing the same story, but just making it better. Because that first movie, I don't know anyone who watched that didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say I like anything with like real life flying dragons. I just think it's like visually so cool to like I'm just a little nerd about
Game
it.
Game of Thrones, House of Dragons action going
So I just anytime I see a dragon flying in some open air, I'm like,
take
bingo. Bingo. Okay. I probably won't go see it in theaters though, because I'm not familiar with the franchise like at all. I've never seen it. But I'll probably wait for streaming services.
If you haven't seen the first one, Caleb, I recommend watching it at some point.
Is it good? The first 2.
Yes.
The first 2
yes.
I thought were good.
Yeah. All right. Next, we are on number 7 on our list right now. Just FYI. July 2nd, we got Jurassic Park World Rebirth featuring Scarlett Johansson, directed by Gus Edwards, who directed Godzilla, Rogue One, Star Wars, and The Creator in 2023. I think it's the same one as what we said earlier about the Marvel films and even the Mission Impossible. Like, put this down. Like, come on, these dinosaurs, leave them alone.
Leave it be, please. Please. I beg of you. I don't have anything else to say. I'm not going to watch it, and I wish they'd stop making it.
Yeah,
I probably would not watch it as well.
Movie 8.
All right.
Let's go.
Well, moving on to number 8. On July 11th, James Gunn, who directed all 3 of the Guardian Galaxy, jumped ship from Marvel to DC to create the film Superman. So David Corn Sweat is taking over Henry Cavill. Folks, what we think? The new Superman reboot. Right now it's getting some good reaction on the internet. I'm probably just gonna go to the theater just for like the hope of like this will be good coming from DC, but I'm probably gonna be let down. But I think the fact that James Gunn is directing it is probably the reason I will want to watch it in theater. Because when I watch Guardian of the Galaxy, like those are always just fun movies with the like great music, great list of cast, and the world building. So I'm curious to see if James Gunn is able to pull this one off with DC.
Yeah, I probably won't go watch it, man.
Yeah, not gonna bother watching it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we got another superhero movie just following that. On July 25th, we got the new Fantastic Four.
I'm not
First
gonna watch
Steps.
it. You said superhero movie. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes this film slightly more like intriguing to me is going to be based in the 1960s, and it's going to be played by Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn, Vanessa Kirby, and Eban Bachrach. I probably butchered that last name there, but Pedro's entering the Marvel universe, 1960s.
Is Fantastic Four Marvel?
Yes,
it is.
It's Marvel. It's just been they haven't had a good run at all, so we'll see.
You know my answer. We ain't going.
All right. Next one, number 10 on the list, Michael, coming out on October 3rd, is a biopic of Michael Jackson.
Theaters.
Automatic.
Folks, it's automatic.
Yeah, go.
And the last two, we got Wicked for Good. It's a sequel to last year's hit musical, Wicked. Yeah, coming out November 21st. Are we going to be singing in the theater?
Singing in the theater? Huh.
Bad. Oh my gosh. I'm going to watch it in theater. I won't be singing, but I'll probably be in theater just because I saw the first one.
I'm going to let y'all hold space for that one. I'm not watching that, bro. That's not for me.
No, as somebody I would consider myself like an adjacent theater kid. Even I am not going to go see that for no other reason other than, I mean, I know myself and I know my limits, right? And so it's like, I'm not going to go see that in a theater because I just don't want to be, I don't want to be in an environment with those people feel empowered. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be in an environment where theater kids are looking around and saying, we're in control in this space. Okay?
Dangerous for sure.
Second I get around some theater kids that feel bold, that's not the scene for me. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Thanks.
All right. You guys are going to wait for it to come on stream then, huh?
For sure.
All right. Last one. Avatar, Fire and Ash, coming out on December 19th. James Cameron's Avatar saga continues. I'm not even sure if this is the last one. Is this a trilogy? Or is this continue after this? I don't even know where I put this, honestly, because
I thought, so here's my hot take on the last Avatar. I thought the last Avatar visually was one of the most stunning movies I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the storyline was
trash.
Weak. I was like, let me get this straight. The U.S. government has hitched their entire extraterrestrial, I guess, excursion on eliminating this one dude. The whole U.S. government is in an extraterrestrial.
He betrayed humanity. He gave up his body.
I just don't think it's that strong of. And you mean to tell me this man gonna come back 2-3 times to try? Pack it up.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
Pack it up.
I'm not gonna say they need to stop making this because I know a lot of people love the Avatar movies. But and this might even be a hot take, but I didn't like any of the Avatar movies. Even that first one that was breaking all those records and everything. I remember I was excited because I was hearing all the hype. And really that was kind of
critic here.
No, I'm not a critic. I just like what I like. That's it.
No.
And that was not for me whatsoever. I did not like any bit of that. So I won't be there. But I'm not trying to yuck someone else's yum. You can have it if you want it.
Well, thanks for playing and sharing. That's all the blockbuster movie coming out in 2025. Honestly, it could be a worse list, but here we are.
And it could. And when 2026 comes around, and it's got, we're gonna do 3 episodes. 3 episodes on Dune in 2026. Switching topics here over to the topic of Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are kicking off some very early decisions in the overall Trump administration. Just a reminder for our listeners, they oversee the Department of Efficiency. Gentlemen, have you guys been up to date with any of the conversation regarding H-1B visas?
I've been sitting not super close to the conversation, but I definitely read a few articles just about what the visa is, what is its purpose, and why has it sparked different conversation right now on obviously the internet, but also just within, for example, the Republican Party, signing this off, the visa. So I definitely want to hear a little bit more about like the pain points of this topic and what that means for US right now. I think that the big thing is the motive for like why is this being passed, and I think there's just from different angles there's different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really kept up with it that much, so I'm hoping to be educated a little bit today. But one thing is, I definitely, even though I'm not super into this specific niche of the topic, I am interested in like immigration. I'm an immigrant in this country. I mean, I'm not even a citizen, but and I love America, and so this is very much something that I want to be keeping an eye on, just because this is kind of the world that I exist in part. So.
Yeah, I think in general, my overall opinion on it is not yet formulated. I'm very much, I would say in this conversation overall for our listeners, I'm probably the least educated person, being a native-born American, and not having an extensive understanding of the immigration policy as it relates to anything outside of like historical immigration policy in terms of like pre-World War II. I'm really not that familiar with. So I'm going to share basically the messaging that was sent out from Vivek's Twitter, and then we can sort of debate it or just sort of discuss it. I don't know if I have fully formulated my opinion on it yet, so I'm not going to be sharing a ton of my thoughts around the actual program itself. More so, I think the sentiments that it's leaving and that. So I'll kick us off here. So Vivek Ramaswamy tweeted, "The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over, quote, native Americans isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation," he put in quotation marks, or parentheses rather. "A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young, all caps. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zack and Slater over Screech in Saved by the Bell or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity, and their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Sunday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chillin', more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. Most normal American parents look skeptically at, quote, those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view such, quote, those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grow up aspiring to normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s, or even now, who raise their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence. I'm confident we can do it.
Wow.
Gentlemen, initial reactions and thoughts.
Wow, there is a lot to unpack in there. I think he said a lot of great stuff. He also made a lot of crazy reaches, namely that claim that Trump's election may be marking the beginning of a new golden era in America. I think A, too soon to say something like that. B, crazy claim, just given the fact that we're talking about a 4-year span of time that's coming up. And it's kind of crazy to think that just in a 4-year span of time, we might be sparking a golden era. And just also the whole sentiment that's underlying that the beginning of a golden era in America is caused by bringing people who are not American into the country rather than empowering the people that are already here. I just feel like, although I agree with a lot of his thoughts about like what we should be rewarding within our culture to like maximize the productivity of our society, the vibe that I get from it is that we should just give up on the current generation. And that's kind of, it's a little bit shocking. It's a little bit insulting. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much to unpack. Different section. I think I agree with you, Ben, just claiming that this is the spark of the golden generation. It's crazy because, we remember during COVID, a lot of parents in America, like, people kind of went home to school, and that kind of became more popular for people to homeschool. But then you start seeing a lot of groups of people homeschool for the wrong reason. And I think, I've seen that firsthand in terms of just, it's not out of love for education, but out of fear. And I think a lot of this is driven by that. For example, like having our ass headed listed by China, going to that extent. But yeah, I think the motive makes sense, like wanting to promote higher education, areas of like engineering, medical, like STEM studies. Like these are things that are important to our society, and honestly the brightest people who are in this field. But I think, yeah, it's just putting it on, hey, because other people are coming into our country, we need to, like, this should be the reason we start now, versus like, hey, we are pioneers, we're explorers, we're adventurers, like these things that should be true to every nation, not just US alone.
I think my initial thoughts on it are is that when I'm reading through it now, and this thought just came to me, like as we're on here live, as we're reading through it, this is incredibly divisive language, just in how it is being presented. And Vivek in his language this is like, I'm just catching this for the first time. In almost every single stanza, he draws a line in the sand and said, you're either this way or you're this way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very much absolutes.
It's very absolutes. And it's very, I don't think that this is like, when you're talking in absolutes like this, I immediately just think to myself, you lack basic social intelligence.
Yeah.
And you lack an understanding of how social factors play into things, because all you've done is you've actually, if what you wanted to do was say, hey, because my general opinion on immigration is this: immigration makes us stronger. Immigration does allow us to maintain a competitive edge, because like it just has historically. Remember, I'm my only true concept of immigration policy is really pre-World War II. And so when you look at what the immigrants that immigrated here pre-World War II gave to our country, they gave us way more than what they ever took in terms of inventions, in terms of the economic boost, in terms of labor, in terms of science advances, in terms of educational advances, in terms of the arts, all of that kind of stuff. Immigrants are one of the things that give us a cutting edge over other countries. I believe that fundamentally. My problem with this statement, and I'm going to go through all of the different, I'm going to count on two hands here, all of the different divisive language. The reason why top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over American natives, that's the first one. Let's see here. Our American culture venerated mediocrity at least in the 90s and likely longer. This doesn't start until college. It starts young. Prom queen over the math Olympiad. Jock over the valedictorian. Then we get Boy Meets World. We have 3 different media examples separating people. And then next stanza, we have one more
with Whiplash and
movies
Friends.
to watch. Whiplash over Friends. Math tutoring over sleepovers. I'm up to 10, 11, 12,
over
13.
Yeah.
So we are at over 13, over a dozen examples, and we're not even finished counting. Just within this one tweet of him, essentially, I think trying to divide a lot more than he's trying to unite. Because if I heard somebody come on and say, "Hey, we're trying to maintain our competitive edge, and so we're going to be bolstering more immigration to help us maintain that while also investing in America," and that kind of stuff, I think that's a totally different message. And this is where I think tech bros fail significantly, is in not understanding the social factors that play into a lot of these things and people's overall reactions, that kind of stuff. We could talk about some of the Elon Musk stuff on a different topic someday, because I think that plays into it as well. I think one of the things that was most shocking to me was Elon Musk's response to this, and people saying this goes directly against Trump's campaign promises around immigration. And Elon Musk responded to a tweet and said, "The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H-1B. Take a step back and F yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend." Wow.
Yeah.
So all of this to say that this has received a lot of backlash from a lot of people within the Republican Party, people that had previously voted for Donald Trump. A lot of people were tweeting at Donald Trump saying, "Do you support this?" Donald Trump did tweet out and said, I'm in full support of this. I have several people that work at Mar-a-Lago that are H-1B visa recipients. A lot of people notated this weekend that there seems to be a splitting divide within the Republican Party that is sort of the working class, good old-fashioned conservative Republicans, and then rich alt-right like tech bros, basically, that don't necessarily agree with conservative values. They just are concerned about money and they hate Democrats. And so I think that's a really interesting fraction that we're seeing in this Republican Party right now. Gentlemen, what are our thoughts?
Yeah, I totally see it. I think we're entering this really weird phase that in part is caused by just having a two-party system where you are either one thing or another. And that's forcing these people, the ones that you're kind of referring to as like the tech bros, right, that are more concerned about finances, that they're having to leverage the power of the Republican Party right now. I think, like you said, they don't really have conservative values socially, but they do economically, and that at the end of the day is the biggest factor for them. So I think it's gonna cause a lot of tension for those people like you're talking about, the MAGA people, and then these new wave Republicans that are coming from a whole different set of values, but maybe agree on some things. It's getting messy.
I think the thing that throws me off is when I look at American history, we constantly are bailing out corporations pretty consistently, like every 5 to 6 years. We spend damn near $1 trillion to do it. And this message is so bad to me because, number one, it's incredibly divisive. And I don't want somebody that's like that to be in charge of any department that in one message we counted over 13 different dividing scenarios that they were giving. Like, that was what that entire message was about, was division. I don't like the disrespect to America, because part of American culture is that rugged badassery. We're going to figure it out one way or another, and we'll beat you, like, regardless of what you have going on, just because we're that innovative and we're that like badass. And do I think that that's a good thing that we have that? Not necessarily. I'm not even saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying, from an American culture perspective, it goes against the grain of the foundation of our literal personality as a country. And so I can't see it going over well for the administration. I can't see it being good for overall race relations internally within the United States, especially with such divisive language that's being presented. There's already a lot of Asian American hate that happens. There's already a distaste, a mistrust for immigrants. I think language like this only stands to widen those gaps and make it harder for businesses to be able to action and to want to hire immigrants. I think it only does a disservice to immigrants that are looking for jobs. I mean, I just think this language and how it's being rolled out, again, I haven't fully formulated my opinion on the increase of H-1B visas, but I could say initially that how this is being presented, how it's being spoken about, I think is ineffective, inappropriate, and only stands to do more harm to the American people and even immigrants.
It's crazy because it also even just distracts from the whole point that he's trying to get at. It says nothing, like this whole conversation that we've just now had has had really nothing to do with the H-1B visa.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's causing.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a big distraction. Caleb, why don't you give us like a quick overview, just like what is the H1, what is the visa, like why are people kind of torn over this, not in the details but just the headlines that the news are kind of highlighting right now?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing is that this goes directly against some of Trump's, I almost said Elon Musk's campaign promises, Donald Trump's campaign promises around immigration. One of his sticking points or talking points throughout his entire campaign had been minimizing immigration, closing down the border, and investing in America. America first has been his platform the entire time, right? And so what happened when all of these tweets started, or when Vivek tweeted this and Elon Musk joined, is that there were some incredibly strong conservative voices, some of the most followed conservative voices on social media, people like Steve Bannon, who were basically saying, like, this is a total 180 from what the Trump administration was campaigning on. I think a lot of voters, a lot of Republican and conservative voters feel incredibly like betrayed because this is like, we're not even in office and we're going against what's been said. So I think this is also pointing to a much larger issue within the Republican Party, which is that some of the people that are not on the alt-right tech bro side, that are just like good old-fashioned conservatives, that might be farther conservative or alt-right, just not techie, have basically come out and said, I'm not going to lie, I just don't want this country to look like India. I think there has sparked a great fraction within the Republican Party over this. And I think there are cracks in the foundation of this administration very early. In terms of the H-1B visa, H-1B visas, to my understanding, has a lot more to do with visas surrounding people that have like accredited like skills from certain countries. There's a short list of countries that these H-1B visas are provided to, and you basically have to have a highly sought after skill. There's a list of skills as well. To be able to immigrate here, you've got to commit to working, I think, X amount of time, that kind of stuff. And so historically, Donald Trump has been campaigning on a platform to limit immigration and to invest in America. And to a lot of conservatives and Republicans, this feels like a complete 180 from his campaign promises and is just overall been very alarming to many people. There's been, and I'm not on Parler or anything like that, but I've been reading through some of the correspondence of Trump going back and forth. And I mean, there have been some heavy conservatives that have like been disavowing him. There's one alt-right conservative and I'm not even gonna say her name because I don't want to platform her. But she actually quote tweeted Elon Musk's tweet and said, "I now understand Luigi Mangioni's actions." And this was a major donor to the MAGA, a major voice in the MAGA Republican movement. And so just seeing this fraction, I mean, I was like glued to Twitter watching it just because I've never seen anything like this in the Republican Party, like split people apart. I really haven't. I think it's very concerning. I just think there's going to be a lot of drama because ultimately I think Donald Trump is one of the greatest showmen of all time, regardless of if you like him or not. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump also doesn't like to be upstaged. And there is a lot of infighting that's happening right now. A lot of people that are referring to Donald Trump as the first lady of the United States, and they're calling President Elon Musk. They've been taunting Donald Trump through that. That's not going to go over well. All of this is just very unprecedented and like nothing we've ever seen within the Republican Party.
Yeah, it really is a crazy time. And I think it's a really good thing for all of us, listeners included, to be keeping an eye on. I think we're really only just at the beginning of this. I mean, Trump hasn't even stepped into office yet. None of these policies have even really begun taking effect. It's all just chatter right now. And I'm sure this is something we're going to revisit, especially considering the fact that, we're all very close to this topic of immigration.
Yeah, I think a few things I'll highlight from the visa that I just read into. 7% the folks who are going to be getting this visa are from India, 10% from China, and the rest are like sprinkle around Canada, Mexico, Taiwan, and I believe Japan's in there. So yeah, so when you hear the campaign for the last, honestly, 8 years of America First, and it feels like it's like, man, my promise is not kept. Or so yes, one of those things. It's just crazy. Like, this is the first thing, I guess. That's what I'm trying to get to. Like, this is the first thing that's tearing the party within. And yeah, we're all seeing it happening pretty fast, almost. But you talk about how Elon is kind of in front of this. Like, how has he been responding to all the recent media, though?
He's been pretty, I would say he's been pretty combative. One of the things that he actually tweeted about in response to this has been that he's going to be, and we're not going to get into all of this yet, but he talked about promoting on X, changing the algorithm. So 2 days ago, he tweeted about changing the algorithm designed to promote healthy conversation, reduce spam. But essentially, he also said negativity will not be promoted, that they're going to center positive educational conversations on the platform, right? So a lot of people have been basically saying this is, again, a 180 from what you've said. And I think in general, Elon Musk has been incredibly combative about this. I think he has engaged. I mean, this man has engaged on this platform in ways like, I mean, just a madman engages this way. He was basically caught in a live talking about himself. He was using an AI voice filter. Well, the AI voice filter cracked for like a second, and it was being recorded. You can go look it up, and it was his voice behind the AI like voice filter. And people were like, oh crap, like this is, so then they go and they look at this guy's tweets, and it's nothing but responses to Elon Musk himself telling himself how good of a job he's done. And like, it's like, you're such a great father.
That's like KD.
whole time, this was his burner account. So like his burner account was found. I think it's just, this and is it's crazy not the
too
way.
Because he's always talking about how everyone needs to be verified, how you should have to pay to be able to use social media so that these kinds of burner accounts don't exist, so that we don't have bots and all that. And he's out here with the burner like Kevin Durant, and he got caught. So it's embarrassing.
Well, aside from the polarization that's kind of happening. Well, not just over in U.S., but also just in the party right now. I want to go to the policy itself when it comes to immigration in the visa. Ben, you kind of mentioned earlier, you're someone who doesn't have a U.S. citizenship and you're on visa. Like when you hear this kind of language,
oh, I'm a permanent resident now, Jack. Ease up there.
My
Come
bad,
on, brother.
He said, "Not too much on me now. I'm good. I'm straight. My bills are paid." Okay.
Talking about visa, that's not me.
Oh my gosh. Tell us about if you ever been on the other side where it's just like when you're in college and you hear people talk about visa and maybe have this like language around America first, like how does that make you feel in terms of like, you're sitting in the same classroom and listen, if you don't know, Ben is a bright student. Man is going to OSU, get his PhD. Like this man is bright. So I can't imagine, even times just being spoken in a disrespectful way or like indirectly, or maybe you experience it directly.
I don't know. I think the only people that I've ever heard speak negatively on having highly skilled immigrants are people who are not highly skilled themselves. I think I've never heard someone intelligent say that we need to keep the most skilled people out of America. I think that is I think those people, when they say America first, they don't mean the well-being of America. They mean like white America. And they're trying to protect and preserve their ethnicity and culture. And I'm never going to be a supporter of that. Those people who are saying America first because they want this country to prosper, I can get behind that. I think everyone should want their country to prosper, regardless of what country that is. So I think that a part of that is that you have to be open to whatever solution leads there. If not, then you can't genuinely say that is your priority. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
No, it's great.
Yeah, I think in general, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, especially in the workforce. Right now, there are in 2024, there were 160,000 tech job layoffs. I think in lieu of that, with how many people are on the market, I think it'll be interesting to see, how we are interacting in the workforce in the next 3 to 4 years. How are we, where are the jobs? Like where are people getting hired? Are we going back to in office? Are we going to keep remote work? There's just so much that's just undecided right now, I think, in general around work. But
well, speaking of work, kind of a funny story that popped up in Japan. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but
Ben, I'm out in Tokyo because I'm big in Japan. Okay,
exactly. Japan. For the listeners who don't know, Japan has had record low birth rates, just like many countries, especially Asian countries. In fact, Japan has had a record low birth rate for now the 16th year in a row. Their birth rate currently, each woman in Japan is expected to have only 1.2 children in their entire lifetime. To give you just some more numbers, some more context behind that, Japan is a country of 125 million people. And in that country, last year, only 727,000 people were born. And that is just insane. So low. Their birth rates have declined by 15% over the past 8 years. And yeah, it's a huge issue that's happening over there. And so the solution that they are proposing in Tokyo is the 4-day work week. Starting in April, they're going to be
introducing... know that's right.
Yeah.
I know that's right. Come on, somebody.
Starting in April, they're going to be introducing a 4-day work week for those people who want it, with increased flexibility being enforced to all companies. In fact, parents with elementary age children are going to be able to clock out early every day in exchange for a pay cut. So basically, they get to trade some of their time at work for family time in exchange for a small pay cut. And I think that's absolutely crazy. Just this notion that like let's give people a little bit less time at work. Let's stress them out a little bit. Maybe they'll be getting, I don't know, freaky in the sheets a little bit more. And I don't know what this strategy entails, but apparently it's got some research behind it. They swear that this is gonna be a solution.
I don't know.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you wanna do. That's all they really need is more Al Green concerts and Marvin Gaye. That's it. Is that Marvin Gaye or Al Green?
I don't know.
That's Marvin Gaye. I think my general opinion on it is pro 4-day work week. In any of the tests that they've done it has come back as a net positive for those people's lives and for the businesses. And if you give us an extra day to sit around the house, who knows? Who knows what will happen? You know what I'm saying? It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great short-term solution to address the work culture in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to address the decline of birth rates. Because I read a stat from the Michigan Journal of Economics, academic journal. They did a study on just the Japanese birth decline. It says Japan is currently the highest nation with old age dependency ratio. Basically, there's just a lot of old people working still, only amongst the young people. So right now, it's 48.6 seniors for every 100 working adults. And this reached starting in 2024, and the metrics projected that it's going to be 79 out of 100 people by 2050.
Ooh.
Will be seniors?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
So this is what the government, what the government says. A big reason for the birth decline is the increased freedom of young people. Women are, quote, privy to modern societies. And two, Japan struggle to adapt with modern autonomy. This is what the citizens are saying. Japan is faced with wage stagnation, increased childcare costs, and rapidly aging labor force. And again, the strenuous work culture and traditional values. So what the people are saying is the government's this stipend, this 4-day work week, this different solutions are all short term, but it's not addressing the root of the issue. And the root of the issue is the pay, especially for women. So a lot of times, the article indicates that women in Japan are not only making enough, but they're often have to choose between having to bear a child or keep working.
Yeah.
But then if they have a child, they're going to be less attractive to, the rate of divorce will be higher because they're not making money. And that's the biggest reason why many people are single in Japan, because men don't want to date because they don't want to be broke. So a lot of women are choosing the latter, which is keep on working. So why I think the 4-day work week won't work is if they're gonna cut the pay in the Tokyo city, no, they cannot survive on Family Mart's egg sandwich all year long. There's just a deeper rooted issue that needs to be addressed, which is the pay gap. Honestly, even just the singleness. There's a lot of single people. It's reported that married couples in Japan between 20 and 49, 34% have never dated before then.
Dang. What
Crazy.
age?
20 and 49. 34% have never dated.
A third of the population between the age of 20 and 49 have never dated?
Yes, so
y'all ain't
on their grind, brother. They're on their grind.
Listen, y'all ain't solving that.
This is I think a research done during high school is we did a study on technology and the impact of like social skills.
And I believe technology does have a negative impact when it comes to guys approaching girls.
Hey,
like
bro,
the
I think
social
you're
cues,
100% right. Listen, bro, I was this is funny. I was sitting out in public one time and I could see a group of young guys that were trying to approach a group of girls, and they were like hyping themselves up, hyping each other up to like go make this move. And I got interested. I'm like, I'm rooting for these boys,
Oh,
For sure.
I'm like, they're about to make a move. These are some teenagers, like this is something to witness, especially in today's world. And one of them finally was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it. And he walked up to the girl, and you know what he said? He said, hey, can I get your Snapchat?
Oh.
Can I get your Snapchat? For what? So you can talk to her on there? You're talking to her right now. Just say what you gotta say. It is
crazy,
baffling to me, man.
I'm such a shoot your shot ass bro. Like, let me tell you something. I have been mauled down.
Yeah. Taking that L.
Countless occasions. But let me tell you something. It's like, baby, who's going to remember this interaction in like 2 days? Mm-hmm. Second of all, it is character building to get absolutely like turned down. And third of all, it's like, bro, I'd rather get told by 100 people that I'm interested in that they're not interested and like face that rejection like a man than like, I'm just gonna sit over here because I'm afraid somebody gonna tell me that they don't. It's like, baby, there are 7.8 billion people in here, and you think just at the end of the day, shooting your shot is a math problem. It's math. It's like, baby, eventually somebody's got, you know what I'm saying? Like, your odds can't be, you just gotta keep.
Look, Caleb gotta be going to Japan and give a conference, a love conference, because I'm telling you this right now, Caleb, that's very different than dating culture in Japan.
Oh, people for sure.
Very reserved, not as outgoing. Not only that, it's a country, it's isolated. Mm-hmm. Like, if there's no countries touching that, and we know, like, anxiety is huge there, just as the suicidal rates, and I think that's a huge reason. This social anxiety. People aren't equipped to deal with their emotions. You hear all these technologies things that come like people dating their anime character with their there's research out there, bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean, we're pointing out a whole lot of problems that are clearly playing a part in this issue that Japan is having, right? Let me wrap this up by asking you guys, from the sounds of it, you think this idea of the 4-day work week will not be effective in its goal, right? And Caleb, aside from having them listen to more Marvin Gaye and Luther Vandross and all of that, what do you guys think actually, if you were in charge, what would be your solution, your strategy to start increasing birth rates in Japan?
Look, people need to get paid more, and economy needs to be better. So make my plane ticket cheaper. I'll go over there and spend my money in Japan, and the government will let loose a little bit. People won't be as stressed. I have no idea how to address this. I'll be honest. This is such a rooted issue Japan hasn't solved in the last few decades. I'm glad to see them taking a new approach that we maybe follow, but I think right now my biggest solution was just increasing the pay.
I think one of the things that you can do, first of all, I agree. Globally, companies have record-breaking profits. The middle class, the working class are being stolen from in terms of finances, in terms of wages. And that's not like that's not like a that's not like a liberal like thought or idea. Like that's like just broadly available when we have record-breaking profits, and yet our minimum wage is still $7.25, right? It's like we've anyways, I digress. All of that to say, it starts with wages. I think also I'm not as familiar with, I would say, Japanese culture. I would say I understand the difference between like some of like the Eastern versus the Western ideas and in terms of shame cultures versus honor cultures.
Yep.
And so in America, we're very much a shame culture, whereas in the Asian countries, I believe they're more honor cultures. And so I think I think part of that goes into it as well, where it's like, if you're in a culture that's an honor culture, and it's like, if you're not having children, or if you're not motivated to have children, is it because you don't want to bring somebody into this same environment where the younger you are, the less respected you are? You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of it has to do with, I think, cultural traumas in terms of how we answer questions, how we decide to treat people, that kind of stuff. But in general, I haven't heard necessarily, I'm not as familiar with Japanese culture, but there's nothing that at least I've seen in media that shows like really strong like understanding familial vibes of like, enjoy yourself, or like do X, Y, and Z. It's very strongly rooted in honor. We do this, we do that, we do this, we do that.
Hustle, grind.
Exactly. And so I think it's like, I think a lot of people are thinking to themselves, I don't want to recreate this for children.
Yeah. No,
that's great.
I think we're spot on with that. I think it's gonna be, it's gonna require a shift in culture, which is slow and it's difficult. And so I do at least respect those in charge, the government in Japan that's faced with some of these difficult situations and decisions. And I think it's great that they're at least taking this step to start to try to address some of these problems. So only time will tell. Only time will tell. Well, anyways, listeners, as always, whether this is your first time joining us or whether you have been with us all 33 episodes, thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this, and we really are grateful for you being here with us. If you enjoyed, don't forget to rate us 5 stars. It really helps. Share this episode with a friend. Follow us on social media at Generation Varied. And if there's anything you want to hear us talk about in the future or revisit, shoot us a DM or send us an email at generationvaried@gmail.com. Once again, we could not do this without you, and we will see you next week.